Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful, wonderful world in which we live. Yesterday, in part one of this two-part series, we rode up to Ammanford in mid-South Wales in the valleys north of Llanelli, because today we're going to be hanging out with Claire Thomas. She's an amazing photographer, she's a horsewoman and a biker. And this afternoon we're hoping to go up into the mountains, do a little bit of dirt biking, and maybe she'll share a bit of her photography wisdom with us. And look at this. My little abode for the night. It's contemporary, it's compact, it's warm and toasty, and the red legend just looks like it belongs there. Claire Thomas is in the car park. Hello, mate.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, Monica. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's good timing. We can have a cup of tea. Oh, I like these cushions. So it was just, I really only cared about horses. I was the weird kid in school who just didn't have any interest other than horses. And then while I was at university, I had the chance to go to Wyoming to work as a cowgirl.
Awesome.
And I loved it.
The boots and everything.
I did. I went all in. I had my hat. And like, it's real there, you know? It's you don't see many people not wearing cowboy hats and cowboy boots. And I just like threw myself into it. It was really tough in the beginning because I know it's trivial, but the hay bales are manageable. You can lift them. They're like almost the same weight as me. I couldn't lift the bales. I couldn't lift the saddles. I couldn't tell apart 90 horses. And there was no there's no period of adjustment. It's like you just have to do it quickly. I had, a little point and shoot camera. And I was taking pictures of the horses, and I went traveling. I went from the ranch one year and I went to Thailand, and then I worked with horses in Borneo and Australia, and went to New Zealand, and then I went back to the ranch from there. And I went with I printed off a bunch of the pictures I'd taken along the way just with my little camera, and I just liked them, I had pictures of butterflies and waterfalls and all these things I'd seen along the way. And I remember showing them to my boss on the ranch, Heath, and he's like the quintessential cowboy. Quiet, doesn't give out compliments that easily. And I showed them to him, and he was like, you should probably get a real camera. And I was so moved that he said that. I couldn't believe it. So then I went and I actually got a Pentax camera. And I didn't study, I just learned. I got a couple of books, learned like the basics. I mean, it took me a long time to really understand the exposure triangle. I started, doing aperture priority, then shutter speed priority, but you don't get the results always. It's not reliable.
It's not consistent, is it?
Yeah, it's not. No, it doesn't work. It was storytelling that I knew I wanted to do, but didn't know how. So then I was teaching English in Spain for a few years. I do that for 6 months, then travel for a few months and just develop skills and interest and see where I want to go. And then I had the picture published in National Geographic of the camel, and that was a turning point, because after that I felt like that gave me confidence in my work.
Just having somebody else, somebody like with a name, going, that's good.
Yeah.
And so how did that go from, hey, I've got this picture of a camel, it's in National Geographic. Again, it's another massive leap.
I don't know if you remember, National Geographic used to have, I guess they still have it, but now it's on Instagram. They had a platform called Your Shot.
Okay.
So I was submitting images on there, and then you get feedback from the community, and sometimes editors would comment. But never did I imagine that they could take a picture to be published from there.
So you sent something into Your Shot, thinking, well, someday I might get some feedback and it'll be a useful part of the learning journey, whatever. And then
months later, I had an email. Can you send us the raw file? We'd like to publish it in the magazine. Is this a joke? Yeah, that was a big deal for me. Wow.
But the thing is, with all of this, is it's throwing the stone in the pool to make it ripple.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you're not content to sit there and go, I'm waiting to be discovered. You're chucking handfuls of pebbles into the pool and watching the ripples come back and seeing which ones there are. And that's kind of like how life works.
Yeah, you've got to. You never know how things work out.
There was that shot of the women in Ghana. I love that picture.
Really?
It's so cool, being in a village and it's all kind of tumbly down. There's these bright women and they're kind of like giving it large for the camera.
I love that you like that picture.
I do. I really do.
It's going on. It's part of an exhibition in Taiwan in February.
Maybe I love that picture because I can kind of relate because I had similar experiences in other cultures, and it's kind of like, for someone looking maybe from the outside who hasn't had that experience, they're like, well, why did you take that picture of that messy place, and why are they all hammering it up so much? And it's like, well, actually, you didn't. They kind of gave that to you, if you
Yeah,
like.
absolutely. That's one thing I don't try to do at all in my work is stage the image. So I've never done that. Just because I like capturing what's in front of me as opposed to trying to create a scene. So yeah, those women were, I mean, they're professional models, and they saw a camera and they all just came together right in front of me in seconds. And then they did all these different poses, and I took a few pictures, and they were just terrific. And like the juxtaposition between the village, which is ramshackle really, and then these glamorous women in beautiful dresses and high heels was kind of stunning. It's very strange, but I think they what they were doing was creating a campaign to promote Ghana tourism in Ghana.
What's your driving force in telling the story of war and conflict?
I've always wanted to go to conflict zones. I'm not really sure why. I guess I had some kind of curiosity to understand and see it myself. And then when I was covering the refugee crisis in Greece and in France, that's where I started to meet a lot of families who had fled from ISIS. One day I was in Greece and I just booked a flight to Erbil. Initially I just went with the idea of telling stories about the humanitarian crisis. I thought that would be easier because I'm not an experienced war photographer. I'd only really worked in Palestine and Israel before, and the people are amazing. Actually, Iraq reminded me a lot of Palestine. As soon as I arrived, I did a hostile environment training course. First day in Iraq, we sat on an IED. We didn't know. Luckily, it was inactive. But we were taking cover behind a house. And we were with a group of soldiers. And, the firing had stopped, and we were just all sort of standing around waiting for something to happen or whatever. And then we all sat down on the ground, just on the dirt. And then one of the soldiers came running over and was like, move. And he pointed, and there was a wire. So you never know, they were everywhere. Yeah,
and I think So how do you psychologically cope with that?
I think I can cope with it fine because I've not been affected by it. I think it's different if you have a really close call. I mean, that was a close call, but it was easy. We all just kind of laughed it off because nobody got hurt. I think the minute that you see somebody getting hurt or you get hurt, then it changes the whole perspective. It's easy for me to laugh it off because, I wasn't hurt.
So the work you put up, in your exhibition at Exposure, there's a lot of people who are very, very hurt.
Yeah.
And you're documenting the incredible work done by the frontline medics, behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're heroes.
How do you find the path through that to function as a photographer? The little girl picture staring at the...
Oh, it's dreadful.
That one that just does me in.
But when I'm shooting those pictures, I'm still crying. You can still shoot and be upset and be emotional. And I think that's actually really important. You can be a vulnerable human being and still shoot, it doesn't... But you also you're there to shoot. You have to be there. You have to do your job, basically. Everybody's doing your job.
So you must believe in that storytelling
so
definitely. Powerfully that it's worth you risking your life, your emotional stability, to do it.
Yeah,
and I think that's an amazing thing.
I tried really hard for weeks and weeks and weeks to find a way to just go in and do it and be there and not have to be like rushing in and out. I just wanted to spend time in Mosul and stay and do like a more documentary style. And eventually I did get the chance with the medics to go and stay. And those 3 weeks were life-changing. That for me was like a eureka moment because until then I was like taking these pictures, but I didn't really tell much of a story other than like soldiers are fighting and going forward. So it wasn't enough. It wasn't the whole picture for me. And I remember like thanking Pete Reed, he's the founder of this amazing medical charity called Global Response Management. And I was thanking him because he had taken me to Mosul and we were about to go to the front line to the clinic. And I said, this is great. I'm glad to have this chance. And he was like, Jesus, don't thank me. You're about to see things you'll never unsee. They would come in waves. There'd be a long period of time where we were all sitting around making eggs and drinking tea and whatever, and then all of a sudden there'd be a mass casualty incident and they were completely overwhelmed. And of course, being a woman, the women who were coming in were coming to me being like, please help me, and there's nothing I can do. And that is a horrible feeling. But then with time I sort of would be able to like run around and get other people and the medics. I mean, there's just I've never met such inspiring people. They're incredible. They moved me to tears every day.
tragic stuff is going on somewhere else in the world, and it's easy to forget that while we're going through the kids and the cooking the dinner, and somebody's late and you're pissed off with your partner, that actually it ain't that bad. You know, it ain't that bad.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, at least you're not hanging onto the outside of an aircraft trying to escape.
Yeah.
Because you think that's a better chance than staying here.
Yeah, I know. I was lucky, I think. I felt like I had an incredible support network. And it wasn't all awful, you know. In any context like that, of course you see the absolute worst of humankind, but you also see the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the front and the back side of the hand, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever the worst exists, so does the best.
Yeah.
Eagle hunters.
Oh.
I want to be there. I want to meet those people. How many images would you say are in your final pick, your body of work for that shoot, for that story?
So I think I took around 3,000 images total, and I think I've got like 300 that are good.
Okay.
And then, because I'm actually creating a photo book of those images, so I've got it down to about 150 that I'd like to include. From
the time you went, okay, we're going, to the time you came back and went, okay, this is a body of 300 images. How long would you say that took?
Months. From the point of going to the point of going through 3,000 images took me a long, long time. Yeah.
And the only reason I'm going down this path is because there's going to be people who will see those images and they go, oh, I'm going to go to Mongolia and take a picture like that.
Yeah.
But of course, we only see the very tip of the top of the iceberg. We see the published work. We don't see
what it takes.
The choices and the decisions and the planning and the organising for. You don't just rock up and go, oh, guy with an eagle, click. That's taking a picture. You kind of have to
and
come with them and be with them, you know, as a human being.
And that's what I love the most, actually, about being a photographer, is the times when you're not taking pictures. You're just sitting down having a cup of tea with people whose lives are completely different. And they're so warm and so welcoming. Like, they just, you know, they're willing to share their whole lives with you, and I'm a stranger.
Why were you telling the story of the Mongolian eagle hunters, apart from the fact you'd always wanted to go?
One of the main draws for me was the horses. Naturally. So, because after I'd lived in Iraq for almost 3 years, and then I felt like, okay, it's time to do something different. I need a break from conflict and just start on a new project to do with horses, but looking at the relationship between horses and communities and people who depend on them for their livelihoods, which is something I want to do all over the world. I want to look at it in lots of different countries, but Mongolia was the first. The eagles were the icing on the cake, I guess.
So, you know, you've got these incredible heavy skies. Are you using things like an off-camera flash or something? You're just using available light and shooting? Yeah,
there were a few days where we had cloudy skies, which was, you know, perfect. There was a couple of days where it was really clear, which is, you can still get nice images, but I much prefer the dramatic skies. And yeah, I don't know, there were a couple of really lucky moments. There was the Arkalak, a 12-year-old eagle hunter, sitting with his eagle, and, you know, it's kind of dark, so the clouds, it's like just a massive light diffuser, and then just a beam of light shining through, and it would just light up his face, you know. And I'm quick. That's one thing I think is to my advantage through photojournalism and working in a war zone. You can never. You've got to have your camera with you all the time. It has to be turned on. You need to have your settings more or less right for wherever you are. And I don't hesitate. I just shoot quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, do you find yourself kind of like you're inside the tent in the yurt or something, and then as you walk outside, you just almost subconsciously go, right, just take that ISO back down and take the aperture a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're
just
do
constantly
it
doing it. Exactly. It has to be sort of totally second nature.
Yeah,
otherwise, the luck, which always does play a part.
Yeah, of course.
But again, it's like throwing stones in the pool again, isn't it? It's the more stones you throw in, the more time you spend with the eagle hunters, the more time you spend understanding your equipment and camera. Yeah. The quicker you can capitalise on luck. That quick word is perfect.
Yeah.
A whole other genre, of course, is sport.
I think that's my brother's fault to start with.
It's always someone's fault.
Yeah. Because he would always want me to take pictures of him on his motorbike, which is really hard. And when I was learning about photography, you know, many years ago, before I understood the settings, I really struggled. And then there were horses, the rodeo in Wyoming.
Fast moving.
Yeah, it's a totally different approach, isn't it?
Thinking fast and all the rest of it. Yeah.
And then I had some assignments to shoot sporting events randomly, but through refugees, so working with the United Nations Refugee Agency, they commissioned me to photograph the refugee Olympic team. And I was hired by the International Olympic Committee, so they sent me to Kenya and Luxembourg and Germany to photograph the team training for the Olympics. And then UNHCR sent me to London to cover the World Athletics Championships. And it was really funny, actually, because I've never been to a big sporting event like that. And the longest lens I've got is 70 to 200, which I realised very quickly is nowhere near long enough. Because, and you go right to the front, and all of the photographers have got enormous lenses with, monopods. I didn't have anything. So I struggled. And then one of the guys was like, why don't you just go in, like, there's a Nikon stand, they give you any lens you want, you could just go and ask them, literally any camera, any lens, you can borrow it, you can use it for the event. So I went and got I think it was a 400 or 500 millimeter lens, but I couldn't really hold it and shoot, and I didn't have a monopod, so I was like very awkwardly leaning on the railing trying to shoot, but I managed to get some really nice shots, and I really enjoyed it. Again, it's just a matter of being quick and having the right settings. I got to see Usain Bolt and Mo Farah, and of course the refugees running. It was brilliant.
So what sort of camera do you shoot on?
Nikon D850, and it's just flawless. I absolutely love it, and the resolution it is so good. It's so high that it's allowing me to blow them up to like 90 inches. I love it. It's fast. It's reliable. It works incredibly well. In low light, the ISO goes so high, and it's the pictures are still good, the quality's still good, but it's just so reliable. So I have 2 of those and a couple of lenses, and then I did just buy a mirrorless Z6 II. Hats off to anyone who used to shoot. I never shot analog.
Didn't you?
No, never.
Yes, you were just a young baby.
I know. I had a little point and a camera with film that I would get developed, and like 1 or 2 from a roll would be okay. Yeah, what a difference.
It is. It's an amazing thing that we can do it. I'd never want to go back. I did learn on analog stuff, of course, but tell me about Claire the biker.
All right. So my brother's had bikes for years. I guess for him, motorbikes are like what horses are for me. I enjoyed riding on the back with my brother when I was younger, and then when I was 21 or 22, I was in Mozambique, and I was like hitchhiking back to South Africa, and I met a group of bikers, and I told them I was traveling the next day to South Africa, and they were like, how are you getting there? And I said, I'll take public transport or hitchhike or whatever. And they were like, oh my God, absolutely not. You're coming with us. We have 8 bikes and a few support vehicles. You can jump in the Jeep or whatever. And of course I was like, can I go on the back of a bike? And they were like, yeah, okay, we've got enough gear. Oh my God, I spent 2 days traveling through Mozambique and South Africa by bike, and that was it. Oh my God, it was really fun. And then I was in Iraq, and they don't mind if you don't have your test. So I just bought a bike. I went to the market, and I went from there, and I loved riding around Iraq on my bike. I absolutely loved it.
What is it about riding a bike?
Yeah, it's just fun, isn't it? Like, I would wake up in the morning and just be, I'd only have to go from my house in Erbil to the UN compound. And it's the only time, really, when I would wake up buzzing, to go out and get on my bike and have a little ride to work.
Your eyes are all lit up.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in this for you, but certainly for me, I feel like I'm part of the world.
Yes, yeah. You're not detached from the outside world like you are in a car. Like you can smell. You feel much more connected to your surroundings, I think.
You just use the exact word that I do. You can smell the fields, you can smell the hedgerows, you can smell the charcoal fires if you're in Africa or wherever. You can come up into the clouds and suddenly you can feel the moisture on your skin.
Oh, it's lovely. And I think for me, maybe because there's an element of risk. You have to be
Do you like risk?
Really switched on.
Do you like it? You never struck me as a risk taker, Claire. How peculiar.
No, I'm terribly risk averse. I like that you have to be really focused, and your mind can't wander really and think about other things. So it's almost like meditation, because when else do you get to focus on something where you're not looking at your phone or listen to the radio thinking about other places.
This is great because you just used the other word that I use about what it's like riding a motorbike.
What?
Meditation.
Really?
Totally.
Wow. Okay.
It is. It's where I go to meditate. It's
No way.
There's the times for, as you say, the risk. That this roundabout looks fun, or this sweepy bendy bit, and you just think, nail it.
Yeah.
You know, or somebody comes past us. I quite like tumbling along at 50, enjoying the fields and the trees and the valleys and the everything. And then a sports bike comes past. I'm on the old Red Legend, and it's just like, bugger it, give chase. You know, pin it right up their trumpet. You know, and they're like, what are you doing all that? You know, scraping your boots around the corners.
Yeah.
But then the other place, and that makes you in the now.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't be thinking about tomorrow or yesterday or what you screwed up or what you might screw up or what you're going to do. Sorry, anyway, I went on to a thing. Okay, so what was your bike? Your first bike you bought in the market?
It was a 125 or 150 Iranian made something that didn't have papers, so it got taken off me quite quickly by the police.
Oh, right.
And then I got an equally ramshackle dirt bike, but I loved that because you know the roads are bumpy in Erbil and there's speed bumps and everything, but on a dirt bike you don't have to, you just fly over them. It's great. So I actually loved having the dirt bike. I really enjoyed it, but then it started to fail. The engine wasn't good, so then I switched and bought a Honda CB 400.
Okay, yeah.
And that was a dream bike for me. I absolutely loved it. It was low, you know, I'm not very tall, so having a lower bike was really useful. I loved it. That bike really made me fall in love with biking. If I could have any bike now, I think I would want that one.
But we are going to go up into the mountains with your brother's dirt bike, aren't we? And I'm going to get Claire to give us a few little tips on your sports photography, being quick and all that kind of stuff. Up ahead of me there is Claire's brother on his Husqvarna motocross enduro, and Claire is following in the car behind us, so we're going up in the mountains, have a little play on the dirt bike, and Claire is going to do a little bit of photography, so I think this is going to be fun. I need to catch him up. Time to hoon. That's great coming up here. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so as we ride all around here, you can see some of the tracks going up the hillside.
Yeah.
That's illegal, obviously, but...
Fantastic up here.
Yeah, baby! Woo! I want to do some jumps. That's what I want. Little ones.
It's really tall for you, isn't it?
It's much too tall for me. It's
much too tall for you.
I love it when I'm going, you don't notice, it's fine, but stopping and starting, actually stopping was easier, but yeah, getting on and off. I need to do some yoga first. Oh, it was good fun though.
Oh, man,
enjoyed that.
Okay, let's shoot some pictures.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Claire?
Hiya! Those are my thoughts. It's actually really tricky to photograph. Especially when he's kicking up chippings in our faces.
He's chucking gravel all over us.
Jesus.
So come on, so the shot is, what have we got? We've got a
actually,
fast-moving subject.
Yeah, so I've got it, the main thing, I've got my autofocus on continuous. I've got, I think, on dynamic 25 or something. And fast shutter speed. I've got my shutter speed on 2500. Got my aperture on 3.5, probably go a bit higher.
Yeah.
Lower, you know. And I've got my ISO at 320 because we still have quite a lot of light, so it's all right.
Yeah.
But the composition here is tough because we've just got a messy gravel road and you want to get in tight, obviously, but oh God. He's too quick.
And
But
I was in
actually-
your way.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking the sun is there, so it'd be nice to get a silhouette shot of him actually
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
up here. But then we've got a deer in the way. Hold on, this way, quick. It's hard to get a sharp shot like that. It's
Yeah.
hard. Normally, guess I would try to shoot with him further away and use my long lens, but then it's not that interesting. It's more interesting if he's close and I've got my shorter lens on. But perspective, also I always think about, like, there's no point standing up and just having, like an ordinary view. You have to make it interesting. It has to look different. So I guess it would be better if I was lying down.
Do you want to try that? What do you want to go for? Do you want to go for more the
wanna
silhouette look,
Yeah.
or the bouncing up the hill look? Because
It's going too quick. That wasn't too bad.
let's have a look. Give me a peek.
If he could just come a bit slower.
Oh, look, you see now.
Like
There's
with the
stuff
sun
going
and
on in.
shooting.
Look, that's nice with the sun coming through the handlebars.
When I've shot my brother in the past, I've got him like going around a roundabout or going through water or doing wheelies or whatever, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard shooting motorcyclists. So I'd
Oh,
say.
totally. And this is all part of
This
what
is-
you were talking about earlier about you're quick.
I'm gonna shoot wide this time and see how I go.
Shoot wide.
Yeah, that worked.
The thing which I want everyone to notice is how much is Claire talking about apertures and cameras and settings. This stuff needs to be instinctive. It's what you said this morning as well.
Yeah,
Because-
you just have to be able to do it so quickly that you. Yeah, because if you just asked me what setting, I'm not really sure I would know. But I just adjust every. So with this light, you've got to adjust the settings every 5 minutes or less every minute. So I mean, if I was actually shooting something like this, I would do a bit of everything. Like I would try, my 2 different lenses and lots of different angles. And just kind of feel it and have fun, I guess. That's what I would
This
do.
is it, isn't it?
And hope for the best. I mean, most of it's just luck, isn't it? And you don't know what you've got until you get home and look through the pictures. And then maybe I would get 1 or 2 that I like,
Yeah.
you know?
And you're running on burst mode, I guess.
I am running on burst mode, so yeah, when he's passing, I'm just like non-stop shooting.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I also noticed no chimping.
Chimping?
Chimping. Looking in the back of the LCD. Oh, what have I got? What have I
No,
got? What have I
don't
got?
like doing that. No. I hate doing that because I don't know. I like to see what I've got later when I'm home, and see it properly. Like. Ah! Be careful! You're going too fast.
Claire, you photograph wars.
Yeah,
Just, in case you forgot.
I know, but this. I don't know. He's spraying us again.
Claire, it's been a joy and a pleasure and a privilege
Thank you, likewise.
hanging out
Lovely.
with you again.
You too, Mike.
And thanks for giving us a few little hints and tips.
My pleasure.
By all means, carry on, shoot a few more.
Yeah.
And, guys, watch out for Claire's work, really. I'll be giving you some updates, whatever you're doing. Is there anything you want to tell the guys about?
I've got a few things coming up this year, or next year rather. I've got this, hopefully, a photo book coming out from Mongolia, which should be released in the autumn. One sec. And hopefully I have an exhibition in Taiwan, but given the travel restrictions, I guess none of us are going to be going to see that.
If you live in Taiwan.
Yeah, I have a few exciting projects coming up, so I'll keep you updated as plans unfold.
You carry on shooting Gav. I'm just going to walk over here for a minute.
All right,
See you in
cool.
a tick.
Thanks, Mike.
So, I hope you found that exciting and interesting, and if you did, please like, share and subscribe. Help me make more videos of this ilk, of this type. Let me bring special attention to the thanks button. Also, notice Claire was talking about how you must be able to control your camera effortlessly, bloody motorcyclist, and easily. You know, so please check out my masterclass in photography, because I can help you do that. I really can. Click the little link popping out above me, top right of your screen. It will also be in the description area below. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed meeting Claire, hearing some of her stories and some of the stuff about what makes her tick. Be well, and I'll see you soon.